two, 1, 2, 1, 2. Testing. Okay, there we go. It can be heard. Hello. So this is a very, very informal part of the convention. Even though it's called Closing Ceremonies, there's no pageantry or anything like that involved in it. It is really just the leaderships and the organizers will come together and do a little recap of our impressions of what we did this weekend, and then talk about what we've got planned for next year's weekend. So in the spirit of all that, my co-founder, Haas, actually has to go and get a truck so we can start participating in the offload. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and let him share his thoughts first. Then he's gonna have to run out, and we're gonna both go into grind mode. Hopefully we can do it quick, like a montage. It'd be like a nice little montage. We'll be done in about 20 minutes, but I don't think so. And then we'll go on to the feedback panel, which will kick off after this, where we can get some of your thoughts and your impressions on what you liked and didn't like, or things you'd like to change, things you'd like to see for next year. So without further ado, my man Hassan Parrish, the mic is yours.
Hi, I can't see any of you guys, so that's probably a good thing, because I get a little nervous speaking in front of people. Again, I'm Haas Parrish, the co-founder of this little get-together. Thank you all for coming. Make some noise. Wow, this is really, I can't stress enough, one, how difficult this is to do and run for the duration, but you all and the love that you show us and the attention that you give us throughout makes it easy, or easier. And it looks like I'm walking through the hall, I'm walking, around the hotel pointing and smiling, but there is a whole lot going on. So I spent one day, I think it might have been Friday, dealing with the fire marshals, and they showed up, and he said two words. He said, "Shut down." And I was like, "Fam, look in this lobby. Like, you're gonna need more than the fire marshal. You're gonna need everybody you got, the police and all, if I have to shut this thing down." Like, just start calling people in uniforms if I have to shut this thing down. Fast forward a couple hours, we got it square, and I will never not get this thing permitted properly anymore. I will over-permit this thing in the future. But yeah, it's just a series of fires to put out, but it's just part of it. And you all make it easy, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And I'm not gonna ask who has something to say or fix, because that's for a whole nother panel, but on a whole nother discussion. But did we have fun? Yeah! All right. That's what's up. Hey, look. I appreciate everybody coming out. Like the great philosopher Jay-Z once said, you could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Go pass it off to my man.
This was our third year, our third Blerd. We missed a marketing opportunity with that one. Our third Blerd event. We started this off with a vision of 10 years in the business plan. And I remember when I was sitting in front of the Crystal City bid, the Arlington Economic Roundtable with PowerPoint presentation, videos, trying to demonstrate to them what a convention was, because they didn't have even the baseline knowledge of what we were planning to do, let alone to talk about the specific mission of this particular convention and how it's going to affect their city. And I had done research on half a dozen other conventions who were kind enough to lend me their wisdom and their resources to talk about how the trajectory of a convention works. And if you ever have the opportunity to look at a Otakon or a Katsucon or any Anime Next or any of the big conventions that are out there that you're used to going to, you'll see a trajectory that is much more gradual. They might spend 3 to 5 years, in the hundreds, and then hit the 1,000 mark in year 4 or 5, and then they get to the 10,000 mark, in year 10, 12, or 15. And we had that built into our program. And we come in with year 1, expecting somewhere in the neighborhood of 500, 600 people, which is a respectable, solid first-year start. My man, Bernard Martin there, one of the tech leaders for DragonCon, has been a really great advisor to us, and he's like, yeah, if you get that, and you exist, and you happen, then you're golden. That's what you want. And we started off closing out year 1 with over 1,800 attendees. Right? Remember this? We actually had a little panic attack because we only bought 1,000 badges, and Haas came to me. Someone came to me and said, like, we're out of badges, and I got really upset because I thought somebody either stole or misplaced a box of badges midway through the con. Like, no, we literally don't have any more badges, and I'm doing the math in my head, and I'm looking like that meme with the confused woman with the hair and all the equations going around in her face. We're over 1,000 people, and now people run around looking like they've been to a middle school prom with the X's on their hands and stuff. So then we go into year 2, and we're thinking, okay, maybe this was just really good timing, maybe this was just like lightning struck, and we can look at modest growth. Let's say we're going to do maybe a 50% growth. Year 1, year 2, that's pretty standard. That's phenomenal. So we're planning for somewhere in the neighborhood of 2,000 people, 2,200, and we close out year 2 with over 3,000. And I think at that moment we realized, okay, maybe this wasn't just luck, or maybe this just wasn't the stars or Mercury in retrograde or any of the stuff that we thought maybe year 1 was. Maybe we're actually onto something. There's actually a market here in the community for expression, for connection. That idea that the community comes together in that homecoming environment, that reunion environment, where if you ever go to a church revival, or if you ever go to a homecoming to your alma mater, if you ever go to a reunion, even if it's with extended family, even if you don't recognize all the faces of the people there, you still feel as if you belong. You feel as if you have found your tribe. And we had kind of struck that right at the right time, which was fantastic news from us from an organizing perspective. But then we look up and we say, okay, now it's a tremendous responsibility. Because if we flatline from year 2 to year 3 and plateau, you did around the same numbers, people give you those little pats on the back, you get your participation medal and all that kind of stuff. And like, okay, well, how do we keep this bottled up? How do we keep the magic, i.e. Blerd magic, in the mix from year 2 to year 3? And so we were trying to make sure that we kept all the components that we wanted, and we tried to be as bold as we were in year 1 as we were in year 2, in year 3. And so we said, okay, what is the mission? The mission is that we are going to bring a multi-fandom convention together where the people of the Blerd community are going to be those who are on the menu, like a soul food restaurant, right? And we're going to highlight everything that's fantastic about Blerd World. And we're also going to invite Blerd intersectionals to come in and see how fabulous and how amazing, a Blerd community can be in a majority environment like a BlerdCon. Now, how do we do that? Everybody likes anime, it's kind of what it is. Everybody likes video games, it's kind of what it is. How do we put a Blerd top spin on the nerd experience and still keep it the nerd experience, right? So in year 2, we did something that no one had ever done in the history of any convention in the history of the world, as far as I can tell, and we had a barbecue, right? And we came out for the barbecue, and we had Frankie Beverly and Mays playing, and we were eating coleslaw and ribs and chicken and swaying in our seats, and old women calling everybody younger than them baby and all this stuff. And it was a beautiful, beautiful thing if you were there for it. And I said, okay, how do we do that again and replicate that for year 3? So there's 2 things that we did that I think really are going to spell something revolutionary for year 4. One, obviously, was the food truck rally. Did you guys like the food trucks? The programming team, specifically Ashley Thomas, who did a lot of the work on the organizing committee, came out and just really vetted and reached out and recruited those trucks because we didn't want duplication, we wanted representation, we wanted it to represent not just the region, but represent the audience. And we tried to tell them, nerds don't sleep, nerds eat constantly. Pack accordingly, right? Okay, we've done food truck stuff before, so what hours? No, not hours. We're going to start at noon on Friday. And we're going to close at 3 on Sunday. And people are going to be eating all the way through in between. So I figured I had to go check on this. I go out, this is about 1:30 in the morning. This is me, up, I'm the panic guy, that's me. Everything's wrong, I got to look around, right? I said, let me just walk myself out here to these food trucks because the party's going on, and when the party's over, these people are going to go straight after these food trucks. I go out, only people left are the Jamaican people with their truck and the DC Slices. DC Slices had 3 slices left. And I was like, why is your light on? You are gonna cause more problems than you solve. Shut down, they're coming. The Jamaican guys were out there just, I love those guys. They were just heckling everybody, clowning people just sitting on the benches, playing, I don't know what they were doing, but it was like, they're ready. Okay, they're good to go. And everyone else had said that we thought you were joking. And everyone ran out of food and had to go home and get more food, swing by Murray's, that's A-Y, Murray's, and get meat. Anyway, so that was a success, and it created an additional space for us. Year 3 also was successful in that we sold out 3 hotels. Yeah. Anyone who remembers the run-up to year 1, we were trying everything in the world to get you in these hotel rooms because the way hotels work for conferences is that you get a room block, and if you don't meet the room block minimum, the cost of renting the space goes from a Prius to a Lexus, right? And so we're like, we'll give you a badge with a room, we'll give you cookies with a room, we'll call
The secret sauce was like, we just gonna have 50-11 panels and hope that those people stay in the hotel.
Whatever we had to do. And year 2, we did respectable. We didn't sell out. This is our first time selling out this hotel. We come in, and I remember Haas and I had this conversation. I was called him after the second call I got from the hotel. They said, well, we sold out. And I was like, oh, well, we must have just sold out of the block. We'll just add some more rooms to the block. And they're like, no, we're out of hotel rooms. We don't have any more rooms in the hotel, and it's February.
And this was before we even started the acceptances, the rolling acceptances for the panels.
So we're panicking. We're like, what are we gonna do? So I had to go in and do the call to the Courtyard Marriott. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And the reason why is because, if you just go to a hotel and walk up to the door, they're gonna charge you, condo rent because you're just right there. And we know that we don't want you guys to, have to be broke coming in because then you're not spending money at the vendor hall and you're not having a good time and you're spending money on cosplay. So we want to make sure that the room blocks worked on that. And so I put out 50 rooms, I think it was, in the first block.
Started with 30.
Oh, we started with 30? Yeah. 30 rooms in the first block, and that sold out in 2 days.
Because we didn't know how, we started low because we didn't know how much, we didn't want to be that much on the hook.
Right, for the rooms. Right. And we had a second block was 40 rooms, and that sold out in 3 days. And then we had a third block that sold out in about 4 or 5 days, but then that hotel sold out. And I had to call the, what's this up here, the Residence Inn, and open up a block there. And then that sold out, and I said, all right, I'm done. This is not the housing authority. We have a con to build. We can't just be putting people in hotels and then the con's falling apart. So we focused on that. But those were the indicators that what we were doing was very successful. And we were trying to make sure that we were going to live up to that mark. So the most experimental thing that we brought about this year, and I think one of the things that was probably most in line with the spirit of the Blerd community was the barbershop. Now, I don't know how many of you guys got your edges done, got your fade, got some hair left up off of your ears, but the barbershop is a cultural theme for the Black community. You know, it's a place of communion, it is a place of service, it is a place of support, it is a place of, maintenance, it is a calm, not calm, but it's a relaxing space that people don't mind spending a lot of time in. And we are not really sure how many of you guys would take advantage of that, but we knew a lot of y'all needed it. A lot of y'all spend a lot of time on your cosplays, spend a lot of time packing your cars, getting your arrangements, hooking up your rooms, all the stuff that you got to do, driving for miles and miles, and you come here looking like, So we put these guys out here, they're from the community, the Blerd community, and they were packed the whole entire week, and they're cutting hair right now. They weren't even scheduled to be cutting hair today, and they came to me like, Hilton, can we cut hair on Sunday? I was like, yeah, I just didn't put y'all on Sunday because I thought everybody would be done getting their cuts and be ready to go home, whatever. And
I didn't know that barber chairs came in pieces. Like we had to assemble the chairs. Like it came in a box. I was like, fam, we gotta put this together.
It's like IKEA, but in English, right? They were out there ratcheting it up and doing all this stuff, but that is going to grow. Next year is going to be where we expand that because was such a hit to include somebody that's going to do some hair for the sisters, and maybe some nails, maybe get our nails did, maybe even some of the brothers get their claws hooked up, right? Some of the brothers, they just kind of just chew it and they done, right? So one last thing I want to touch on for this year was our guest list. We got really blessed with the guests that we were able to bring in this year. It was really an amazing blessing. A lot of you guys remember the controversy with Rachel True online about the craft being booked and is labeled as a craft reunion, and then she would not be called to come and participate in the craft reunion, and how she was not getting the credit for her role and recognized for the work that she had done in the convention community. And now listen, this is how I know that the Blerd community is activated, is that so many of y'all tagged me specifically. I don't know if y'all tagged Haas, but y'all was just blowing me up, not even being discreet, just like under the original post, Hilton, do something about this. Like, I don't have her manager's number with me. They just want me to I'm just gonna call Rachel True, fine. So I got on IMDb, got her management, called, and within 10 days we had a confirmed agreement and had her locked in to come join us, and it was an amazing turnaround, and you guys made that happen. Yeah, the community made that happen. And if that was the only great thing that happened with our guest list, that would be an amazing story. But I get a call from one of my colleagues who loves to give me, the lead in. He's one of those, hey, you want the good news or the bad news first? Like every other call, one of those people. And he called me, which he never does, and I was like, something is on fire or bleeding, because he's calling me. And he's like, hey, I have a quick question for you. Tell me what you think. How would you feel about having Estelle come to BlerdCon? Now he can't see me on the phone, but I'm like, now I had to ask him, like, the Estelle? It's not like your cousin, somebody, some obscure, like the Estelle. He's like, yeah. And I said, well, we're only a third year con, and she's got a Grammy, and da-da-da-da. And he was like, look, tell me what you can do. I will take it back to her management, and we'll make something work. Because I think that what you guys are doing is right up her alley. It is in her lane, and I think that she's gonna wanna do it. And I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. All right, I'm gonna send this number. Call back, text. Yeah, she'll do it. Yeah. And we got Estelle to BlerdCon. Now, we also got the amazing, who's under obviously the same agency, we got the amazing Bo Billingsley to come. And if you, like I said, he was a dream, and we're just so lucky to have him. But you know, we really had not had a really strong set of voice actors before, and we got him on board, and he's amazing, and you guys treated him well, and he's just had a ball and a blast. And so you'll probably see him again in the years to come. So the guest list was amazing for us, and it was obviously something that you guys enjoyed, and that's a lot of work that goes into that, as you can tell, but I'm telling you, without y'all, that's not successful. So I want to thank you guys for receiving the guests as well as you did and making them feel the Blerd vibe for the first time. So give yourselves a round of applause for that. Now, before I let you go, because there are some of you who don't see the opening session where we have a lot of the organizing committee who are now in the process of breaking things down and working, so they're not all here. I want to reiterate how much work and how many people are working behind the scenes. You know, people often say Hilton and they often say Haas and all this, and yeah, you know, did I come up with the idea? Yes, but I didn't do the establishing piece without Haas and the back structure and the things that made this place, you know, a structure that we could actually build upon without my business partner. And then we couldn't have built the convention that you experienced without the organizing committees. So, you know, we're just gonna throw some names out here for those of you who might not know who these folks are. You know, we've got Cerise Kanzias, who does the programming, and that's the panels and workshops. Did you guys enjoy the panels and workshops? Yeah. A lot of work. That's year-round work for that. We had Tifron Kanzias, her husband. Yeah, they're related. Imagine, right? Who's working on the operational end. You know, this guy was keeping everybody in line. You know, cracking the whip on the left front side and center. You know, he's the part of the glue in the original team of the con, making things happen there. We had Maurice, who came in and is now working with not just cosplay guests, but he's also doing the DJs. Did you guys like the DJs? Maurice came in and was running that. The cosplay contest, did you guys see that? I always loved the cosplay contest. He was managing that. You know, so you go through all of these things. We had Lacey Kishter, who was organizing our vendor halls. Do you like the artists and the vendors that you see when you come in?
Yeah,
that's a lot of work. That's year round. I can't see if she's here, but you know, like I said, everybody's working, so I'm shouting everybody out. We also mentioned Ashley for the food trucks.
Ashley's so dope that the only reason the fire marshal knew to come was because she was handling the food truck rally. And then he looked up and was like, why are there so many people in the hotel? And I looked up and realized we didn't permit the hotel.
Which they never really have to do, but that's a whole other story. But but we took care of it. It was no big deal. The guys were very nice, but you know, it was all good. Haas took care of it. No sweat. No sweat. So we also had, I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anybody.
Carmen.
Yeah, Carmen, who's doing our social media. We just reached 10,000. There she is. We have 10,000 followers on Instagram. And listen, let me tell you something. The way Instagram works is that you ain't nobody till you get 10,000 people following. Mm-hmm. You don't have 10,000 people. They're just like, there's a line over there for you. This is like the rewards line where we can actually do more. We can reach you better, get more information out. And without it, you know, it's just harder to do things. So it's a big accomplishment, and she made that happen. We also have Jasmine Mitchell, who is doing our registration. You know, the lovely young lady behind the desk, making sure that everybody's badges and credentials and stuff run smooth. You know, we even had DJ Taylor Senpai organize some of the music. Yeah, you walked in, that's your fault. You walked in, you didn't have to walk in, but there you are. All right. When you walk in with your name on your hat in white, that, you know, and he's like, me? What? How would you? Huh? Anyway, and there's other people who've been working throughout the con. Kat Stevens, who has been working with volunteers, and she did the volunteer suite, something that you guys don't see, but if you see our volunteers and our staff smiling, it's because they've eaten and they've had something to drink and they've had somewhere to go and sit down, which doesn't happen at every convention, and she made that work. Ben, I don't know if Ben is here. Do you see Ben?
Yeah, Ben.
Ben on the volunteer coordinating team, man, he really brought in an amazing staff. The people who greeted you when you walked in, those are volunteers. The people who checked you in, those are volunteers. The people who are guiding you, the people who sometimes told you can't come in here, you don't have a badge. Volunteers, you know? Ben made that happen, and you know, like I said, this is a team effort. We made everything happen for you guys, and I want you guys to give them a round of applause, because without them, there is no this. Without them, there is no this. Let's see what time I got here. All right, we got a little time. All right, so I want to go into our sponsors for a moment. We had our chief sponsor, like our big sponsor, our biggest supporter for the last 2 years, is the only black-owned artificial intelligence company on the Eastern Seaboard, and it is called Studio Codeworks. And you probably saw their display at the bottom of both escalators with the video games. You see these guys? They have been supporting us from our tech needs, from some of our design needs, throughout the year, and I want you to make sure you guys give them a huge round of applause for Studio Codeworks. I give a big shout out to our prize sponsor, Ultimate Wireless. These guys help make, you know, the cosplay contest and our video gaming, console gaming contest really special. Oh, there's Damon right there. Brother, I'm front row. You ain't got to shout me out. I got the shirt on. Like, but you know, the sponsors really make things happen. We have one of our media sponsors, Weird Enough Productions. I don't know if we have a logo for them. They're just growing. There's a young guy by the name of Tony Weaver who made big things happen in the world of outreach and education in comics and comedy. He goes all over the country, all over the world, giving speeches and motivational speeches to young people about learning through art, learning through comic books, learning through the nerd sphere. And they came in. There was the little kiosk. As soon as you walked into the marketplace, that was them. And they were a big help. And we're really proud of him, because we all kind of started together in a way. Oh, he just walked in too. I'm just on time with this. Look at this, standing in the back. Tony Weaver.
Tony.
Now, you need to know something about Tony. Tony's a young cat, man. That dude is young. I'm talking check his ID at Chuck E. Cheese young. He is doing things at an age where I was just like trying to drive my car and get pizza and hang out, and he is like corporate master doing it up. So really happy to have him. I want to talk about some of the partners as well. We also have the DC Anime Club, which sponsored our anime screening theater. They are hugely active in this area, in the areas of anime and manga, you know, right here in the city. They're everywhere. If you go to any conventions in this area, you're gonna see DC Anime Club. You're gonna see the founders, you're gonna see the committee, you're gonna see the president. They are everywhere. They're super visible. They are the community, and they are making anime, you know, the way we would want it to be, and how it's seen and how it's presented. So give them a big round of applause, because they work really hard. I want to shout out LGBTHQ. Anybody from there and there? We say they're worldwide, but they're out of New York. They're New Yorkers. They're real urbane, you know. They've been with us since day one. They shout us out in ways that I didn't even know you could be shouted out at. I mean, I come into New York Comic Con and I see these guys are like, they got lays, they got music, they got flyers, and I'm like, oh man, these are our partners, man, they are dope, you know? Representing every kind of way with panels and workshops. You know, they're just a really, really great nerd sphere representative organization. When you start talking about inclusion and representation, that's really what they are, and they are a part of a lot of what we see in the nerd sphere. So we're really glad to have them. Give them a round of applause for sure. And I'm gonna run through a slightly longer list and then go on to 2020 of other conventions that have supported us and are here that you guys got an opportunity to meet. You know, one of the longest running partners that we've had on the convention side is Nerdtino. They are bringing about, you know, that Latinas, nerd, Latinx, you know, nerd sphere stuff. They got their own convention based out of Philly. Thomas Delphi, you know, he's an up-and-coming grinder. You probably met him. He is a singular personality. If you met him, you know you met him, right? He's that guy. And so Nerdtino. People that were here with us this weekend, we had Anime Next, we had KatsuCon, we had Infinite Realms and the Multiverse. It's a college-based convention out of Prince George's Community College. We had, what was the other convention? Oh, MagFest was here. Yeah, these guys are the video games. They're independents, but they are MagFest family, okay? So they're everywhere. MagFest was here as well. Am I missing any of the other ones that came through? I think Farpoint, where's Farpoint? Yeah, Farpoint. I didn't get to see Farpoint this year, but Farpoint, huge convention that loves us and we love them out of Hunt Valley. If you are into nerd stuff and Trek stuff, that is them. We love them so well. So give them all a big round of applause for us. Okay, so I want to talk about 2020 before we go into the feedback panel. So, this is what I'm really excited about. Themes are kind of what dictate the mission for a convention. You know, and all the conventions have a theme, they have a mission, they have activities that are core structures that will stay regardless. So there's gonna be video games, there's gonna be panels, there's gonna be a marketplace, there's gonna be all of those things are always gonna be there. And we'll add things as we grow and as you guys give us your feedback as to what you'd like to see as we grow as a convention. But the theme is where we throw that extra flavor on top. You know, it's that little thing that we do that will kind of differentiate one year from the next. And we try to pick themes that have some type of resonance in the Black nerd community, the Black community, and anything we can do to kind of throw that blurred top spin on the ball that we pitch every year, which is BlerdCon. So year one, you know, we kind of had our reunion, and there were a lot of people who felt like the reunion was the emotion and the feel of the convention. This year's convention theme was Blurred Magic, and there was like a certain flavor to one of the programming. Obviously, you know, dovetail with some of the guests that we had and made things happen with Blurred Magic. This next year, we're going to go in a slightly different direction. It's going to be a little more fun. It's going to be a little more spicy. It's going to be a little more interesting. It's going to give everybody a home feel. And it's going to be called Chocolate City. Chocolate City. Huh?
That's dope.
Huh?
That's dope.
You like that? Okay, let's get... Okay, so let's do review. Anybody who maybe is under the age of 14 or is not a member of the Black community, has never really understood the term, this is your chance to review. So let's start. A lot of the urban centers, specifically in the North, you know, during the Exodusters time when, you know, the African-American families started moving from the South toward the North for more opportunities into places like Chicago and New York and DC, you know, you found these cities to start to build their own culture. It would be in the flavor of the food. It would be in the music. It would be in the style and the architecture, fashion, you name it. And now you start to see people who are from Chicago got a certain way of talking, right? People from Baltimore got a certain way of walking and talking. You know, people who are from, you know, Atlanta got a certain flavor to them, right? People from DC got a certain flavor to them. And you see they got their own music, and they got their own food and cuisine. Some of them got their own spices, right? So what we're gonna do with the Chocolate City theme is that we're gonna highlight various aspects of, obviously, the DC metropolitan area and highlight those things for BlerdCon. So you're looking at Old Bay, Mambo sauce, right? I'm telling you, if you ain't had it, you ain't had it. I'm telling you, you ain't got it. You ain't had it, you ain't got it. We're talking about, yeah, we're talking about the businesses, right? We're talking about the music, the go-go music, right? Maybe bring some go-go music to BlerdCon, right? But we're also going to reach out to our other chocolate cities, and we're going to try and incorporate as much as we can from them. So we're going to find some stuff from Chicago to bring into the pot, right? We're going to find some stuff from New York and from Atlanta, maybe St. Louis, and see what we can do to kind of like highlight not just this chocolate city, but the concept of all chocolate cities, right? And if you notice, the theme of the characters is they kind of got a little bit of a Willy Wonka look to them. You saw that? Right, that's not an accident. We are going to be giving you this tour, right? And you're going to start to see that as a theme that plays out from the VIP passes. Maybe it'd be themed like a golden ticket. Maybe we do like a really cool walking tour of the region, or just some things that just going to be undeniable for there. We're going to have a lot of fun with it. And we will be happy to take suggestions and anything that we can bring about, in a realistic amount of time, money, energy, and outcome. We're definitely going to be looking at. So keep an eye on the theme for Chocolate City. Keep an eye out for the ticket sales. We're not going to be doing ticket sales like we did last year. We just come right out the door and do it. We're going to do this in a very deliberate way. We're going to have a much lower priced advance ticket. And then we're going to have a normal priced advance ticket, and then we're going to sell advance tickets until we get roughly up to the day of the con. And we want to make sure that you guys get the opportunity to take advantage of the earliness, take advantage of the advance ticket nature, and be able to get involved and do it without us trying to rush you guys through it. Because I know a lot of y'all spent a lot of money this weekend, and a lot of y'all partied hard this weekend. How many of y'all, some of y'all are sitting in your seat sleep now. This brother right here done had his sunglasses on the whole time. And it is not bright in here, sir. It is not bright in here at all. Can he hear me? Is he awake? Okay, there you go. All right, there you go. Tap him. We're going to put the Weekend at Bernie's business going on here. That brother passed out at BlerdCon. Ain't nobody help that poor man. Well, anyway, what we'd like to do is, again, we just want to thank you from the bottom of our hearts, because there is so much work, again, that goes into this. There is so much that we all have in our own lives. There's so much bad news out there. You guys might not know this, and I'll say it, Trump is 3 miles from here. We can feel that. Brother, you getting on a plane, you going 400 miles away. If you choose to do this with the DC Metro News area, you can do it. If I walk in the wrong Starbucks, I'm reminded, like, oh, there you are, right? So it can be daunting, being in this area. But you guys, the community, the people that I don't even like calling y'all attendees. I like calling y'all the community. I like thinking we build community. We don't bring people to a con. You guys are our family, right? And what you do with BlerdCon, and I see you. You don't think I see you. I see what you're doing. Mm-hmm. You are taking chunks of BlerdCon structure and the BlerdCon framework, and you're taking it to other conventions. And I go to other conventions and I see black and brown people hanging just a little tighter than they used to. You know what I mean? And I see other conventions that are looking at what we're doing, even if the diversity and inclusion mission is not written into their, you know, their charter, they still may want to be more diverse and they want to be more inclusive. And they're looking at our guest list and they're looking at our programming and they're looking at the panels that we put on and the things that we do. And I'm starting to see it in cons like MomoCon and AwesomeCon and DragonCon and Otakon. There is a growth happening. We are able to influence not just what happens here, but what's happening when you go home to your local con, and how can you bring that blurred magic to your convention and to your community. And if we can continue to do that, and if we didn't do anything else, that would be the success, and that would make all of the effort that we put forth worthy of what we do and worthy of your effort and your support. So please give yourselves a round of applause. Please, please, please.
Hey, I had somebody tell me this weekend, he was like, bro, I am not the coolest, most handsome guy, but he said to me, BlerdCon is my Howard homecoming. I was like, bro, all right, I'm glad we could help. I mean, it's all y'all, really. I didn't know that he felt that way, and we didn't try to. We just had an idea, and it just kind of grew into a thing that people love. And look, he literally called it his Howard homecoming.
Well, I'll tell you what, we hope he pays his dues each year and come and join us every year then. Skips Howard. Howard's expensive too, so, you know, come on and we can make this his homecoming, we can make this his home family, because everybody here is looking to the left and the right and they see family, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody here is coming on love. You know, we're stretching a little bit because we got a little time, but, you know, we didn't have no trouble this weekend. Do you know what I'm saying? 4,000 or 5,000 people gathered in a building, dancing, partying, drinking. And not you. I know not you. You one of God's property. You don't do that. I was not talking about. No, I am talking about you, sir. Don't get. I'm talking. She's excluded. You're in it. I saw you. You're not. Telling on yourself. If you hadn't said nothing, I wouldn't have said nothing. But. You was like, oh, I can get some? No, I got you. You are in the mix. So what I want to do is the members of the BlerdCon team, my man Nigel, I can barely see, yep, there he is. Nigel is our digital marketing guy, who is like the God mark. Go ahead and stand up real quick, Nigel, so they can see you. That boy good. He knows his stuff. My man Kendall, I see you, stand up. Running security. We had no problems this weekend. No problems. I see Tifron. Tifron, stand up for him, man. Yeah, you got Tifron, Kansas. Doing the thing. I'm trying to pick on who's in the audience, who is here, where's everybody else? Well, you already stood up, Chris. Where? Oh, there they are. Ashley, stand up. Ashley Thomas, if you like those food trucks, you better stand up, stomp, light a match, cheese. Look, he not even talking about BlerdCon. He like, next week, bring it back to the lot next week. I will meet you there. Cerise Kansas, who's got a sleeping T2 on her shoulder there for programming. Oh, I'm just trying to see. And if there's who volunteered? Who was a volunteer? This is stand up. Bernard, stand up. Yep. There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you. He didn't know he was there? He's there. He's making it happen. So what I want to do is everybody who's going to be a part of the feedback panel, you guys come on up to the stage, and you're going to replace me and Hassan. And I believe that's going to be Ashley and Cerise. Come on up. Now these are the folks that are in charge of programming. They are the ones who are going to be, kind of working on any changes, the additions, structural things that we're going to be doing for next year. So the way a feedback panel works, if you've never done one, I'm going to give you the concept. You get the opportunity to come up to a microphone and talk about anything that you would like to see done differently or changed or enhanced or left all the way out. We will not be doing any direct responses. We are mainly going to be, distilling and taking notes for directional purposes, and we will be going back to our respective corners, and we'll be kind of using that as our guide and our template for next year's growth in the direction of the convention. Okay, so this isn't a gripe session. This is not about complaining or anything like that. Is that we do this for you. If we did it for us, we wouldn't necessarily even have like these kind of meetings. But you guys are the ones who get to shape the convention, and we want to take as much of what you're doing, what your vision is, into consideration. Two people I need to shout out before I get off the mic, who I just saw a second ago. Do you guys like this logo back here? You guys like that logo? Okay, my man Matt Houston, stand up, man. My man Matt Houston has been doing our logo designs since day 3 or something. And like a lot of the work that we've done has come from him for the big stuff. And so give him a big round of applause. The brother works really, really hard, really talented. I also forgot to shout out the guy who's our music director, Stan Robinson. They call him Substantial Rap. You know him? He was performing on Friday. He came on board new this year. Did an amazing job with the stage shows and cultivating the talent for the stage. So even though he's not necessarily in the room, he is with us in spirit and run around doing the things that only he can do. So I want to thank him for that. So yes, we're going to hand this over to the capable hands of Miss Ashley and Miss Cerise. And me and Haas are going to go and start lifting things. But what we're also going to do after this, if there's anyone who's either watching this on video after the fact or doesn't get an opportunity to speak or forgets something and wants to reach back out, we can do some kind of a survey or something online that would allow you guys to submit any suggestions, and just keep an eye out for that. So again, thank you guys for an amazing BlerdCon. I know you are exhausted, as you should be, because you guys have been smiling and cheesing and dancing and walking and two-stepping and electric sliding, and it's been crazy. So we love you. Thank you. Give yourselves another round of applause.